Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk, and I play for stats, and I am a running loser. Complete loser, all right? At least that's what I found out in this particular game. I don't know what it is about Paris. Perhaps it's the famous French haughtiness. I don't know, but I get a lot of salt on Paris. Paris is covered in salt, although I'm having my bouc tea, or I don't know, what are these little guys? A bouc tea? I'm in my TNH TVZ51, which is Czech or Polish. I don't know. If you get that joke, you maybe saw one of my other videos fairly recently. But anyway, pretty cool tank. I'm running the single barrel. Having a little trouble getting past the old VK right here. Spawned over into the west side on Paris Himmelsdorf. Horfdorf, Paris. I don't know. This map, not my favorite. But I'm going to go to the heavy brawling area. I am in a heavy. I am top tier. And I'm going to go where I think I probably need to be. At least initially. And we will assess, right? You assess. You figure out where you need to go when it's time to run away, which will become important in this particular game. I want you to key in on the T10 back there, who is, I don't know if he's not moving yet or if he actually just moved to that corner. I'm not sure what he's attempting to shoot. Oh, man, I really thought I was going to get a nice shot into the bottom of the E75, and that Skoda just happened to drive out just as I pickled that shot off. What a bummer. Extra damage I could have had. Trying to track him a little bit. Looks like I did, but unfortunately there's no one to take advantage of it, because he's already got around the corner. And then their T95 shows up, and then he's basically going to lock down this position for a long time. It's going to take us a long time to figure out how to get rid of him. All right, let's talk about that right here. The position I'm in is very difficult to come around the corner and get shots in without taking shots back. This thing doesn't have spectacular armor, and they're looked down. It's pretty much auto pen all day long based on the guns I'm facing. Maybe the Skoda T56, if I don't allow him to get into the side of me, I might bounce some off of a highly angled front kind of idea. But the guys up top, especially the T95, so I really have to time these shots to make this work. That position is decent, not great for a Renegade. Don't really recommend a Renegade down there. That tumor is, he just can't really hide it very well. It's okay-ish, because if he tucks up where it's higher, he might be able to hide it. The T32 is going to have a lot better time. He's a much smaller turret. We have a good number of tanks back here. So far, the T10 hasn't even joined the fight. All right, I'm mentioning the T10. We'll just watch as we go. I'm going to have to time my shots, pay attention to when people shoot. I don't want to pop out when I know that the T95 is sitting there and pre-aimed. I do want to watch for when he might shoot at either the Renegade or the T832, and then see if I can pop out and maybe get into his lower hole. So that's my whole game right now. I'd love to get in there and get rid of the E75 and the Skoda, but I can't quite. So I peek and he's not there, and now I just have to wait for him to come around the corner. T10 has finally joined the battle. I'm going to sneak one underneath there. T10 finally joins the battle, and he's all the way back there in his T10, right? Playing Sniperino against those guys. And I'm doing what I can with the T95. The rest of the team looks like they're doing okay. Down goes the Renegade, and we lose a 101. That's a bummer. And we'll keep on fighting. So far, the North hasn't fallen. They're not doing great. This guy comes around. I sneak one into his lower plate, get out of the way of his shot. And we'll just continue this for quite a while we try to whittle down in the heavy brawling area. We have a pretty good number of tanks here, and might even, to some extent, outnumber them. Unfortunately, most of ours are on their back foot, all the way back here, right? Going hold down, hanging out in the back. Turtle. Now the T10 has moved around to that side because he wants to play sniper at some other tanks. Let's see if we can sneak some shots into the bottom of the T95. I got lucky on a couple of those. I don't remember if this one actually pens. Nope. A little bit of a twitch right there. Probably too much coffee or something like that. That actually happens a couple times later. But a little bit unlucky. One of the shots just disappears. It might even be this one. One of the shots, I don't even know where it went. I think it just went low, either underneath or bounced off the bottom, something like that. That one, not sure. I'd have to really slow it down and go look at it, but obviously didn't hit what I was aiming for. Kind of going for the same spot the last pen was. That is a relatively weak spot on the T95. It's quite nice also because it's look up, which will flat plate it some more, but it's not a very big target. T832 is doing some nice work helping me out right here. Takes that guy down. And then the T-95 goes dark. I was kind of hoping the T-832 would continue to light the T-95 so I'd know where he is. The only way for me to find out is to stick my nose around the corner. I really don't want to do that. So we're just going to wait a few potatoes. I'm watching the T-832. He's kind of moving some armor around. I'm sort of hoping maybe he'll get a light on somebody. Take a peek there in case someone's coming to that corner. Right here, I thought about leaving and then changed my mind. I looked north and said, all right, they're fine. None of the purples are making a bold move into the middle. Our T-95 is sort of watching the whole middle side anyway, so I'm not that worried about it. You're actually going to notice the T-95, I think he trundles across the whole square there and moves on into there. E-75 sort of comes up. T-32 starts dueling that guy, and we're still just not seeing the T-95. So I'm just going to take a chance and try to find him. All right, there he is. That gets me letting look at him. He's just sitting right there in the middle, guys. Just sitting right there waiting for somebody to come around the corner there and slap him. And I really don't want to trade 750 and almost for sure if he hits me, and he probably will as long as he's been aimed in here. 750 alpha to trade him for 440 and a probably fairly low chance of penning. You will notice then that our hero or our buddy, the T10, has moved over to the middle. I don't know why. I guess he's maybe shooting at the IS-6 or something over there. T-95, check it out, trundling across the middle square. And it was at this point I looked at this one, okay. He didn't get shredded. If he comes down this middle here, kills off the E-75, turns the corner, and gets up into the rest of these guys, we might have some good shots here. I'm going to take a shot right at the hatch, and nope, goes over top. I'm thinking I might out-reload him, but he turns. I'm thinking, come on, come on, come on. Nope, not quite. Here he comes again. See if we can get a shot underneath. And that's my fault. I started to move, and look at that shot that came back. I'm really glad I got out of the way of that. And then the Lurva comes to that little spot, which is difficult to use, but you can shoot people if they're not paying attention like me. If I'm not paying attention, you can get some shots on them. So now I've got the Lurva on one side, the T-95 on the other, and then the BZ wildcard in there as well. Here comes our T-95 moving in, and you'll notice that now the T-10 is coming in, finally getting up front to kind of help me out. Now let's just talk about this for a second, because if that guy had moved up with me and done what I did, so that when we popped out, we brought 2 guns out each time and started working on guys together, we could have had a good time. He doesn't do a lot of damage in this game. And right here decides to come down and trade most of his hit points by being a little bit foolish. He's just going to peek. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's useful for me. That gives me a chance to come in here and get a shot. Okay, there you go. Low roll at 395. That's a bummer. Peek out. I'm thinking, all right, buddy, get him. Nope, not quite ready to shoot. Now this dude's going to come out. We'll get another shot on him. That works nicely. I'll back out. Very good. And what a great sequence. It was, he lost a lot of hit points to do it, but we dropped their hit points pretty well. So if he was better at timing right there with me, then we could have been doing this the whole game. All right, my point is, he's a top tier heavy. He hung out in the back. It took forever to get into the game anyway. Then he hung out in the back. When he did move forward, he just rolled out and ate a bunch of shots on tanks everyone in the world knew was there. Notice I ate a shot earlier doing the same thing, but then decided that was no longer wise. Pretty well played, really, by both teams on the heavy corner right there. I see the 430 moving to the middle, so I'm going to react to that. You'll notice this dude actually sort of sees that as well, and he starts coming. And I don't know if he's following me or seeing this on the map, maybe a combination of both. But he tends to be right where I am doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to back out. All right, he dies. Let's spin around. And I don't know. He was looking that way. So probably saw the tortoise about the same time I did, started turning around. So now we're going to come in here. And I'll tell you what, the guy just continually ends up inside and jumping out, right? So I'm like, all right, geez, got to work with this guy. Oh, see, I wanted to shoot the hatch before he came around the corner and not eat that shot. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all right, we're in pretty good shape. We're down some hit points. That's a problem. Most of their tanks are down here against me and the T10. I really don't feel like trying to hold here, especially as we're trying to back up against this tortoise and fight right here. The Lurva is going to come around and start shooting us in the side. So I really don't want to deal with that. There's a BZ-58. There's a T-95 that hasn't showed up yet. So we've got a lot of tanks over here. I figure it's time to get out of here. Let's go. I'm just going to spin around. And we're going to bail out of this. Maybe I can catch somebody in the middle. And I do make a definite error coming along right here. The T-95, the enemy T-95, is going to show up in the middle right there. And he's going to shoot. All right, he just shot our Scorpion. I really wish I'd have swung around this corner and tried to kill off the T-95 before I got out of there. But I was mostly in running looser mode. Now see, the T-10 is following me. I come around this corner. I know this is going to be tough. I'm worried that the Tortoise will have come up and over and he's going to shoot me in the butt. So what I've got to do is I really have to, watch what I do. I really have to hug this building just to minimize the amount of exposure I have to the Tortoise there. And I just get it done. Unfortunately for the T-10, he's not wise enough to see that. And really, he didn't have a lot of options. But he just decides to try to make it around the corner as well and eats a shot. Now, he may have survived if he'd have been tighter to the buildings. I don't know. It looks like the Tortoise was around the corner there anyway. And this is where it gets fun and salty after we've seen the gameplay out of the T-10, which was average to mediocre, I would say. And here comes the typing here in a moment. I'm trying to get into the lower plate. See, the T-95 is going to survive a couple shots of mine, unfortunately. And this was just, that went into the tracks, I think, because I was waiting for the shot. Plus, it was angled, so just didn't quite get that guy dead. And let's get out of here. And now the salt flows from the T-10, who is very angry. So much running looser, as I mentioned earlier. The running looser. All right, typos are a thing. Whatever. Loose. But I am running looser. I do feel very loose as I'm running here, trying to get away. At this point, you've transitioned to just get as much damage as you can. I don't know. Maybe I can kill a couple of them and make it interesting, but I can't take too many hits. And unfortunately, the Progetto just starts spamming, crushing me. Whack. So not a lot I could do there. He's in a good hold down spot. I'm having a hard time hitting him. The stupid turret's just right there, so I can't really get a shot. And of course, I'm trapped, right? I don't have a lot of good options here. For the moment, I can cover myself up with this hill just a bit, but even the slow dudes are going to be around behind me pretty soon. The Tortoise and all that good stuff. Just a lot of tanks. So I'm going to figure out how to try to get some shots on these guys. He didn't help anyone. Playing for stats. I didn't help anyone. Playing for stats. I didn't help anyone. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, man. You got me. The way I played in this game didn't help anyone. Now, I'm not doing this necessarily to pat myself on the back and say, look at me. Although I'm making a video on YouTube, so there's certainly a bit of that in here. But the bigger point is when you're playing this game and something like this happens and you get mad, and I do this as well on stream. I accuse somebody of X, Y, or Z, and then if I think about it or I look at the replay, I realize that that's pretty much bollocks. And I would say I do that a lot less than most people. Most people? Many people. So when you get mad like this and you start typing angry, make sure that the information you have isn't being pulled out of your anus. Right? When you start flapping your lips, make sure you're right. And if you're not, admit you're wrong. That's acceptable as well. Obviously, that can't happen here unless he shows up in the comments or some such thing. But I find this a lot in, well, really, it's in gaming. It's in sports anyway. It's any competition humans deal with. But let's talk specifically about computer gaming. It's endemic to computer gaming because it's very anonymous with this whole, the way this thing operates, right? You can just type a few things in and tell somebody that they're a running looser and they play for stats and they didn't do anything to help anyone. Well, if his description of helping anyone is sitting around and dying with him against the Tortoise, then I guess that's true. I did not sit there and die with him against the Tortoise, the T-95, and the rest of the guys. I did try to reposition and get out of there. Try to know what the hell you're talking about, really, at the end of the day, my friends. I am going to get some extra damage in here that in a normal game where if there were a few more people, I probably wouldn't get, because the enemy team's just pushing at me. I actually make that guy behind me miss only because I was busily moving forward against the BZ. I kill the BZ-58. 40 hit points. This is classic right here, right? So after all of this, late to get in the game, sits around near cap for whatever reason, meanders over into the back with a top tier heavy, tries to play sniper boy, rushes forward when after we really needed him to be there for a long time, finally gets there, pokes out, loses nearly all of his hit points, and then gets bent because somehow somebody else did not play and help him win the game, right? And then calls them names and playing for stats and complete, you know, just an absolutely diluted idea of how the game goes down. Then when that person gets back here and gets a couple more shots in, playing as best as he can, we get this absolute gem right here. Lucky ass. Lucky ass. Is it though, buddy? Is it luck? Is it? Maybe. But did I position myself for the luck? Probably. Probably. Absolutely love it. I'm trying to kill this guy. Come on, baby. Oh, armor not penetrated. Couldn't quite get the last shot into the T-95. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have backed out of that and not just sat there, but there was the Lurva coming in behind. So even had I killed the T-95, probably the second projectile shot or the Lurva would have showed up behind me and killed me off. But man, I had a couple of them down to one shots right there. Had a couple of them down to one shots. So the running looser plays for stats, my friends. Lucky ass. Yep, that's me. Absolutely. I will take that on board. Hope you guys have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for supporting the channel, and we will see ya.